So here we have our Mendelian Genetics and Inheritance Patterns virtual lab. We're going to be using Science Primer, which you can see on the right side of my screen here, for a Punnett Square calculator. So make sure you take a moment to read through everything at the top of our lab before moving down to our directions here. But once you're in Science Primer here, you're going to see that we have a number of traits and cross, and this is actually a sliding green square here. So I can move it. So for the first one, it wants me to move it to 1. I can then move it to 2, to 3, to 4, to anything 5, and so on. So as you're moving through it, you're going to see that you can move that along. And then you're going to look at the traits that are here, okay? So you can see what's happening here, and then take a moment and think of how this is going to look with the trait using the letter W, okay? You also have show frequencies if you wanted to see the frequencies throughout. Sometimes that's helpful moving through. And then we have our different parents that we can change. So we can look at our letters. I can literally type in there W, the capital W and a lowercase w, so that I can see what that's going to look like according to my lag document. And then I can look at what's dominant, so I can say, oh, the capital W is dominant. I can also look at whether it's showing genotype or phenotype, and then you're going to see the outcome here, okay? So if I click phenotype, notice it's showing me now what they're going to look like. I know that these 3 are going to be dominant versus this one recessive, so notice the colors change. If I go back to genotype, I know that this is its own genotype. These are the same, so they're the same color, and here is its own. So you're going to be using specifically what's in the lab. So for example, if here we're using the letter W, it's telling you the first you're going to be doing a homozygous white flower with the homozygous violet flower. So what you're going to do is change one parent to homozygous white and one parent to homozygous violet. Make sure that we have our capital W showing that that is our dominant allele. And then it's going to edit that here and show you that cross, and then you can take a screenshot and include it and then answer the different combinations. And then it's going to tell you to take 2 of the offspring that are in your cross. So it's not going to look like here. It's actually going to have offspring that are all of the same. So you're going to take 2 of those and put them in your cross down here, and then allow that cross to happen and take a screenshot of that here. And then you're going to move on. So now we're going to use the letter Y. It says to slide it to 2 traits. So that's when you're going to move this to 2 traits. And once I move it to 2 traits, again, you don't have to have those frequencies here. You can always hide frequencies or show frequencies, but some people like to see that. And notice now I have a lot of more boxes. It's also giving me trait 1 and trait 2 for the parents. So now we have our W's we were using, but we're going to change these to Y's. So I can click on that box and change them to whether they are capital or lowercase. And notice it's going to do my cross there. I also have to check off, though, what's dominant and what's not, so make sure that you do that as well so that it knows. It's going to obviously play a big role in the phenotype that they're going to show. So once I move through there, all right, it's going to then look at the number of traits of 3, and you're going to just kind of see what's happening. And you can then, once you do that, you're going to have a 3rd trait show up at the bottom here. So when I move this to 3, and I'm going to hide these frequencies, but notice I have a 3rd trait. Just make sure that you click off so that it knows what's dominant, and you're going to be able to see those responses there. And then you're going to do similar, looking at 4 and then eventually 5 traits for that, okay? Then you're going to answer the conclusion questions below, okay?